Tara George was the kind of woman life had tested too early. At 28, she had the grace of a dreamer, but the eyes of someone who had seen too much reality. Her late mother, Lola, had been a gifted tailor whose boutique, Lola's Touch, once stood as a small gem in Yaba. After her mother's passing, Tara had inherited both the shop and the burden that came with it. Every morning, she would rise before the sun, tie her hair in a neat bun, and whisper a small prayer beside her mother's framed photo. The boutique was more than a business. It was a mother's legacy, her only proof that love and hard work could still mean something. But Lagos had changed. Customers wanted foreign brands, and big malls had swallowed up the little shops that once painted Yaba streets with color. Still, Tara refused to quit. She had a gift. She could look at anyone and instantly imagine an outfit that would make them glow. But her reality was harsh. Unpaid rent, overdue electricity bills, and a landlord who knocked too often. Her friend Amaka, loud and cheerful, would say, "Tara, na small beginning o, e go better." Tara would smile faintly and reply, "I just want to survive this month, Amaka. Better if you wait small." Meanwhile, on the other side of Lagos, Ikoyi, where the streets were cleaner and silence was expensive, lived Michael Adekunle. At 34, Michael was a name that carried weight in the real estate world. He was the CEO of Adekunle Holdings, a company that built luxury apartments, skyscrapers, and shopping complexes across Nigeria. To the public, he was a visionary billionaire, suave, brilliant, and charming. But behind closed doors, Michael was a man who had built walls around his heart, higher than any building he owned. He grew up as the only child of Chief Adekunle, a man whose empire was built on discipline and ambition. His mother, Margaret Adekunle, came from old money, elegant, traditional, and particular about who entered her family. When Michael's father died 2 years ago, the will left a strange clause. Michael would only inherit full control of the company if he got married before his 35th birthday. It was his father's way of forcing him to settle down, but Michael saw it as manipulation. He had dated women, models, entrepreneurs, even influencers, but none had stayed for love. His assistant, Dele, often teased him. "Oga, dem say billionaire no need love, but even lion need meat. You go dey form strong man till birthday reach." Michael would just smirk. "Love is a luxury, Dele. I'm fine without it." But deep down, he wasn't fine. The truth was, Michael was lonely. Every night, when the noise of business calls faded, he would sit in silence in his penthouse, watching the city lights and wondering if success was supposed to feel this empty. Fate, however, had its own plans, and it began on a hot Thursday afternoon, the day Michael's car broke down in Yaba. The heat was unforgiving that afternoon. Michael had sent his driver home early, wanting to experience a normal Lagos drive for once. But as luck would have it, his Range Rover spotted and died right in the middle of a busy Yaba street. He stepped out, irritated, his crisp white shirt now sticking to his skin. People recognized him immediately, and whispers followed. "Na that billionaire man o. The one wey get that big company for Island." While he stood there frowning at his phone, trying to reach Dele, a soft voice came from behind him. "Excuse me, sir. Are you okay?" He turned and saw her, a petite woman in a simple Ankara dress, holding a bottle of cold water. Sweat glistened on her forehead, but her eyes were kind. "I'm fine," he said curtly. "You don't look fine," Tara replied with a small smile. "You look like Lagos just humbled you small." He chuckled, despite himself. "Maybe it has." She offered him the water. "Here, you look like you need it more than I do." He hesitated, then took it. Their fingers brushed just briefly, but something in that moment felt oddly familiar. Before he could ask her name, a mechanic appeared, shouting, "Oga, I go help you fix am now." and Tara slipped away quietly. Later that day, when the car was working fine again, Michael found himself thinking about Tara. The honesty in her eyes, the lack of fear in her voice. He didn't even know her name. 2 days later, Dele dropped a pile of photos on Michael's desk. Boss, your mother say make you start to pick wife candidates. Michael frowned. Candidates? Yes now. Birthday is very near. She don't call on lawyer sef. If you no marry before me, now your uncle go take over the company. Michael leaned back in his chair. The thought of marrying someone he didn't love felt like a trap. But he also knew he couldn't let his uncle, Chief Adekunle, a greedy and corrupt man, destroy everything his father built. Then, as if fate nudged him again, he saw a familiar face in one of the photos on his desk. A magazine feature, Yaba's young designers to watch. There she was, Tara George, the same woman from that afternoon. Without hesitation, he asked Dilly to find her. Tara received the call 2 days later. Good afternoon, Miss Tara, Dilly's deep voice said. Mr. Adekunle would like to meet you for a business opportunity. She smiled. She almost laughed. Me? Business with Billionaire Adekunle? Abeg, make una no joke with me. But curiosity and desperation made her go. At the Adekunle Tower, she sat nervously in front of Michael. He was calm, confident, and too serious for her liking. I have a proposal for you, he said. It may sound strange, but hear me out. When he explained the situation, the marriage, the inheritance, the 6-month contract, Tara blinked in disbelief. You mean fake marriage? You want me to marry you for money? He nodded. Yes, you'll be compensated 5 million naira. Half now, half after 6 months. Tara stood up, insulted. I may be broke, but I am not for sale. Michael simply said, think about it. You could save your boutique. That night, as her landlord threatened to throw her things out, she sat in the dark, staring at her mother's photo. I'm sorry, Mom, she whispered, but maybe I need to do this. The next morning, she called Michael back. I'll do it, she said softly. And just like that, their fates intertwined. It wasn't a grand wedding, just a private ceremony at a small chapel in Ikoyi. Witnessed by Dilly, Michael's mother, and a few lawyers. Tara wore a simple cream dress she designed herself. Michael wore a navy suit, emotionless and composed. To the world, they were newlyweds. To themselves, they were strangers with a deal. Michael moved into his mansion in Banana Island. The house was beautiful but cold, like him. Every morning, Tara would eat breakfast alone while he left early for meetings. Still, she noticed things. He worked too hard, slept too little, and smiled too rarely. He often locked himself in his study, whispering angrily into the phone about missing documents and bold threats. One evening, she walked in with tea. You should rest, she said gently. He looked up surprised. You're not like the others. What others? She said. The ones who only came for what I could give. Tara smiled faintly. I didn't come to take. I came to keep a promise. And for the first time in months, Michael laughed. Week passed, and the fake marriage began to feel strangely real. Tara started brightening up the mansion, adding flowers, laughing with staff, teasing Dilly in pidgin. Michael, who is usually quiet, began to enjoy her presence. She made him tea, challenged his opinions, and even convinced him to visit his mother. One evening, they sat on the balcony, overlooking the lagoon. Why do you hate love so much? She asked. He stared at the horizon. Because love betrayed me once. My ex leaked confidential deals to my rivals. Almost cost me everything. Tara nodded slowly. Not every woman is like that, you know. He turned to her. You really believe that? Yes. You just never met the right kind. Something in her voice broke his defenses. And from that night, everything changed completely. By the 4th month of their marriage, Michael and Tara had found a rhythm. They laughed, cooked together sometimes, and even shared quiet walks around the garden. But behind the laughter, shadows lurked. Michael's company was under silent attack. Someone from within had been leaking information to his competitors. At first, he suspected a staff member until a confidential document disappeared from his private study at home. One night, He stormed into the living room, frustration clearly written all over his face. Tara, have you seen a brown envelope on my desk? She looked up from her sewing machine. No, I didn't even enter your study today. What's going on? Someone is trying to destroy everything my father has built, he muttered. Tara stood up, walked over and touched his arm. Then let me help you. You can't fight this alone. He hesitated, then nodded. You're the only one I trust right now. It was the first time he said it. Trust. That word carried weight, and Tara felt it sink deep inside her chest. But what neither of them knew was that Chief Adekunle, Michael's uncle, had hired someone inside the company to dig into Michael's affairs, and someone had discovered the truth about the fake marriage. One evening, after a board dinner, Michael came home tipsy from champagne. Tara was waiting in the living room, wearing one of her nighties. You waited up for me, he asked. She smiled. Somebody has to make sure you don't sleep in the car. He laughed, then sat beside her. Tara, you've changed everything in this house. Even the air smells different. Maybe you just needed a little love to breathe, she teased. He looked at her, really looked at her. You know this wasn't supposed to happen. What wasn't? This. Us. For a long time, they just sat there, silence stretching between them until he leaned closer, hesitating, then kissed her softly. It was brief, unsure, but real. When he pulled away, he whispered, I don't know what's happening to me. Tara smiled shyly. Maybe you're finally leaving. From that night, their love became something unspoken but undeniable. They didn't announce it. They simply began to exist together in a way that felt natural. Even Daly noticed. Oga, this your contract wife done the turn real madam, he teased. Michael just smiled, saying nothing. But peace never lasts long when secrets are built into the foundation. A week before Michael's birthday, a major newspaper broke a story. Adekunle Holdings under fire. CEO accused of falsifying documents to claim inheritance. The report included details that only someone close could know, including the marriage clause. When Michael read it, his hands trembled. He turned to Tara with disbelief in his eyes. How did they know about this? Who told them? She looked just as shocked. Michael, I swear I didn't. Don't lie to me, he snapped. You're the only one who knew every detail. Tara's throat tightened. You think I would betray you? After everything, he turned away, his voice cold. I thought I could trust you. Maybe I was wrong. Tara's heart broke as she packed her things that night. She left the mansion quietly, with tears streaming down her face. Outside, the rain poured as if Lagos itself was mourning with her. Unbeknown to both, it was Chief Adekunle who had leaked the story. He wanted Michael stripped of power so he could take over the empire. Weeks passed, the scandal spread like wildfire. Michael lost investors, the company's board turned against him, and his reputation suffered. Meanwhile, Tara returned to her small boutique in Yaba, trying to rebuild her life. But she couldn't forget him. She watched him on TV, tired, broken, and alone. One evening, Daly appeared at her shop. Madam Tara, I no go lie, Oga don dey suffer. You just find proof saying that Chief Adekunle leak everything. He even forged documents to implicate you. Tara gasped. You're serious? Daly nodded. If you no help him now, the man go lose everything. Without hesitation, Tara gathered every paper, message, and recording she had from their time together, including one that accidentally captured a conversation where Chief Adekunle mentioned the inheritance deal. The next morning, she stormed into the Adekunle towers. Reporters surrounded her, flashing their cameras. I have evidence, she said firmly. Michael Adekunle is innocent. His uncle set him up. The media erupted. Within hours, the truth went viral. Michael was sitting in his dimly lit office when Daly burst in, smiling. Oga, she don't clear your name. Tara, go TV, talk everything. Michael looked up, stunned. Tara, you watched the broadcast. Her voice was steady and her eyes were filled with tears as she said, it may have started with a deal, but I ended with love. That evening, Michael drove straight to Yaba. The boutique was open, the same dusty window, the same faint smell of fabric. Tara stood behind the counter, folding clothes. When she saw him, she froze. Michael, he stepped closer. I'm sorry. I should have trusted you. Tears welled in her eyes. You hurt me, Michael. You made me feel like I was nothing again. I know, he said softly. But you're everything. You saved my name, my company, and my heart. For a long time, they just looked at each other. Then with a small trembling laugh, she said, so what happens now? He smiled. Now, I marry you for real. No contract, no money, just us. She stared at him, stunned. Are you serious? More than I've ever been. he replied. Tara George, will you be my wife? For real this time? Tara smiled through her tears. Yes, Mr. Adekunle. But this time, you go pay bride price proper. He laughed, pulling her into his arms as Yaba's busy streets hummed outside. And just like that, two broken hearts that met by chance finally found their way home.